What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mindset Matters. This episode is produced by Mindset Media and brought to you by the Empowerment Through Mindset Foundation. Cue the intro. Welcome back, guys. We have a special guest with us today. We have Antonio, Giovanni, Soresh. So I'm glad to have you here today. Just a little bit about Antonio. So Antonio is a champion of student engagement. He's been making waves in higher education. He currently serves as the student engagement coordinator at Dallas College Northlake. And he's driving transformative programs like the Fall Leadership Conference and the Alternative Spring Break. He's a dynamic leader. He delivered a standout presentation at Dallas College's Conference Day in 2024. And his work with, you'll have to help me with the name of this fraternity.
Oh, Lambda Theta Phi Lam Fraternity Incorporated.
That's right. So his work with that with that fraternity has expanded its reach across Texas universities. And from his time as a resident counselor at Georgetown University's pre-college program to shaping student life at the University of North Texas, Antonio's passion for servant leadership and student success is unmatched. So I'm very excited to be able to have you here today. I know we've been trying to get this scheduled for a while. So before we get into all of the things that you've done, the first thing I want to do is get into like your origin story. So Tell me where you're coming from, how your journey has impacted who you are today.
Well, I started off, just like anyone else, taking a bus to get to class and learning to be late and then learning how to be okay with that, but then also being mentored and having mentors mentor me in the right direction. We would engage in community service and we would also go through our lived experiences, me being a first generation student, me being half white, half Middle Eastern, trying to fit in when sometimes people in the room didn't want me there. And I had to adjust and learn from others. Growing up in the family, I was given a lot of opportunities, but, sometimes when you're given a lemon, you gotta make lemonade. So the one thing I always wanted to let people know, like whether it be leading a fraternity, whether it be being a coordinator, just remember those one conversations that you have with people. They give you that one opportunity and it helps you find an outlook to the questions that you need answered. And I thank God, I thank everyone around me who has given me the perseverance and the tenacity to just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think just knowing you and having dealt with you over the time that we've known each other, one thing I can say about you is you have a very engaging personality, very easy to talk to, very down to earth, very animated, which is fun. It gives a fun vibe. Right, exactly like that. It's a fun vibe. It allows people to take their guard down and just enjoy life. So I'll ask, where did that come from for you? That mentality, that personality type.
Man, that's a really good question. So I always had people around me that sometimes would be Debbie Downers. They would say one thing, but then do something completely different from what they said. And I didn't like that. I loathed it because why would you paint a false positive smile onto something when it's actually, not that good for what it looks to be. So every time that I wasn't doing so good back in my middle school years. I remember when I really got those A's and B's, and my grandmother, while she was alive, rest in peace, she encouraged me. I told her, "Hey, look, I got my first A's and B's finally." And then she's like, "Good, keep doing more. Don't let anyone stop you. Stay positive, stay happy." And I took those words to heart at a younger age of my life when no one really took me seriously. Neither did I take myself seriously. And I had people that just wanted me to do better for myself. Dr. Diana Diaz, when I participated in the Leadership Academy through Fort Worth ISD, I was late. I was late getting to the bus to transporting me to the University of Texas in Arlington, where I would have stayed a couple of days and learned about the college experience. I missed the bus. I had everything packed, but, I put on some Eminem, Not Afraid music, and I told my godfather and my mom, we're going there. We're going to the spot that they're at. And the lady that was over the phone, Dr. Diaz, she was like, "Don't come. No, what are you doing? You've missed the bus. You lost your shot." And I got there, and I had a conversation with her just by herself and me. And she was like, "You were late. You did not listen to me, and you still came. I'm going to give you a shot." Wait, what? A shot. So you act right. You do good during this week while you're with us. And we'll see what happens next. Then I did well. I participated in the next year's Leadership Academy. Then I participated in United Voices for Change, which was like a collaborative, all the high schools in Fort Worth ISD come together to discuss it's not okay, which means like it's not okay to bully anyone, cyberbullying. It's not okay to tear someone's personal image down or just make fun of them. I was the vice president of that organization in high school at the end of my senior year, and I also became most promising artist of 2014 in Fort Worth ISD. I did art a lot, and I also tried to work out, but I had shin splints. I was doing track, cross country, and it started to happen in the middle of the year, like right after school was coming back to normal for the spring. So whenever that happened to me, I took it as a sign to just kind of get, deep into my art. Then after I graduated, having conversations with my brother, having him enforce the model of you need to get into computer science, you need to be on par with all these people in the world, so you can be better than them. And I'm like, I don't want to be better than anyone. I just want to be great. I just want to be happy. I want to have people fill me with rich abundance of love and care, because, when they give that back to me, I give it back in tenfold. Sometimes people will say that's like, scratch my back, I scratch yours. Mm-hmm. But that's how the transaction works, And a lot of those transactions, as I was growing up, one step at a time, built the man that we see here talking. Took a lot. Mm-hmm. And then going to apply for college, it was hard. I tried to learn from my brother and my sister, and we all have separate fathers, same mother, and their path was different from mine, and they went straight into the university setting. Me, I went through community college. Mm-hmm. I got in, and I was so excited. I put all I had into art appreciation for the summer, made my first A in college, and I just kept that momentum going and started to apply myself to opportunities, to go to conferences, to network, to have a friend, joining clubs, to be sociable, because my emotional intelligence was lacking and I needed something to bridge the gap. I did SGA. I was the historian at the time at Trinity River, Tarrant County campus. A lot of those moments, waking up really early and not being late and getting to the bus and then getting to my classes was real for me, because it's not the government's money that's paying for this. I mean, yes, it is, but it's through me paying it for them to my future. So I took it very seriously that I want to get everything that I'm paying for out of the way so I can transfer. I did everything right. I went to the University of North Texas. Man, that was a cool 2016 year. I got in when University of North Texas was going in for the bowl game against Navy, and I joined a couple spirit organization tradition organizations, and I joined the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, and helped other Latino students understand their voting rights, or getting people to sign up to vote. We had to sign up to take a class to become a deputized voter registrator. And, what that process would look like was amazing, because people who didn't know that they couldn't vote or didn't know who to vote for was eye-opening to me, because I was just like, wait, you don't know who to vote for? What? That's crazy. So throughout those journeys I had in my undergrad at UNT, I spent about 5 years there when I should have been there for at least 2. I got caught up with, the social atmosphere, and that really deterred me from some of my goals that I was wanting to achieve. Then I was wanting to apply to a fraternity, and these men who did poetry in motion and stood on their beliefs and mean what they said rather than doing something different. They were always there when it comes to things. They weren't the biggest group, but they were always the smallest group, and they would always do the biggest impact. So that's when I started to apply myself to Lambda Theta Phi, Lambda Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Tau chapter at the University of North Texas. I had a wonderful opportunity to really put some of the things that was instilled into me at the ages of, in high school and in community college, to really help out others find their light and find their excellence. What was cool, one of my brothers reiterated to me, like, why are you here? I'm like, to get a degree, just like you. So why aren't you getting it? You've been here for almost 3 years now. You said you went to community college. You did what you did. Now you're here. What's up? And that made me think, like, dang, I'm wasting time. Can't waste time no more. Gotta get in this more to be out of here. Then when my senior year was coming around the corner and COVID was coming up hard, I was, at the time, like everyone, we had to go virtually. I was starting to live in Houston for a hot minute, and then I applied myself to get my master's at Sam Houston and at the University of North Texas. So the first people that reached out to me was Sam Houston, but it was an online program. Couldn't do that. I wanted to be in person with the teachers that are talking to me. Then UNT, they came back with something, and they were like, no, we're good. And COVID was really starting to pick up. All of a sudden, I'm starting to really push in my paperwork to Sam Houston, and then UNT comes back to me, and they're like, hey, would you actually like to come back? We have an opening, and we would love for you to be part of, the next group, getting your master's in education and student affairs. And I was like, say less, because they offered a in-person, teaching rather than the virtual one that was promised from Sam Houston. And then COVID's COVID. So I signed up for what I got. And I had an unfortunate accident that happened to me in the middle of me getting my master's. I got ran over. It was tragic. And I had to learn through, people to just keep me positive, and going to physical therapy, going to the gym was more of like an outlet than anything else for me now. And I would still come to class briefly, with a wheelchair. And I remember one day, one of my teachers in community college leadership, my course, he was like, Antonio, do you know what you are? And I'm over here, just kind of struggling, and I'm like, what? You're resilient. You're here in a wheelchair even after what has happened to you, and still going through the course lessons like nothing's happened. You're a very strong character. I hope wherever you go, you do well. And I want to say kudos to Dr. Cliff Harbor for giving me those words of encouragement in class. But in 2023 of May, I officially graduated with my Master's of Education in Student Affairs.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, that's about what, 2 years ago, almost to the.
Dude,
because we're in May now, right?
To the dot, yeah. It's almost 2 years now. Wow. Yeah, 2 years. 2 years ago. And I joined Dallas College in the May Day during this whole integration of November 2023. And I was still working a substitute teaching position in between Denton ISD and Aubrey ISD. And, I loved the work I was doing with those students to just kind of help them find their why whenever they had questions. But that was it. I would only explain to them the why. No one would ever come to me with financial aid questions. No one would come up to me for admission questions. No, because they didn't know me. They didn't know I had that mindset to tell them, like, this is how it is and this is what you're going to expect for the future. Be ready. And ever since then, being here at Dallas College, like, I've learned so much from people. I've grown as a man, learning from my mentors and professionals that, poke me on the shoulder to be like, hey, yo, you could be doing more. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I applaud everyone for pouring into me like I'm pouring back into our students with opportunities, places to go travel to when they're going into a conference, to community service, to learning what servant leadership is. Everything's been a blessing, and we will continue to have more blessings. I will continue to have more blessings with the students that I keep continuously helping today.
Man, it's such an amazing perspective to have. And I think what you do is, you talked about the why, and you talk about being very good at explaining why people should go to college. I think, and we spoke about this before, like, knowing why you do something is very powerful. You have to start with why. That's a great book. It was written by Simon Sinek. It's called Start With Why. I don't know if you've read it.
The Golden Circle, yes, sir.
Yeah, so like, and what's powerful about that is he's right. If you don't have the right why, maybe your why is too shallow. Maybe your why is not, centered with who you are. When you hit obstacles, then you'll stop. And one thing, again, your teacher shouted it out, the fact that you were resilient, the fact that because you had a why, you had a compelling why behind, what you were trying to accomplish. And so that allowed you to move through those obstacles without losing yourself or without losing your discipline.
Exactly.
And so that's commendable, first of all. And then I'm a huge fan of the work that you're doing in student engagement. I watched, the posts you make on LinkedIn, and we've had some discussions. And
trying to make me blush, y'all.
And I want to get into this because I got a chance to see you present at Dallas College Conference Day. And so tell me a little bit about what went into that presentation when you first found out that you had the opportunity to do it. What was it like preparing for it, and how did you enjoy the experience of delivering it?
Well, let me just say, I typed up something for this, so let me just speak that out. So okay. I will say, seeing the faculty administrator body and students, coming in, wanting to learn how to collaborate, kind of helped me push people in the right direction. And the conversation wasn't just about engagement. it was about building bridges between silos. When people start saying, let's do this together, that's when change really becomes real. It feels like we're planting seeds across the college, and now I'm really seeing them grow. Like you, like many other students who are now getting internships now, who are getting mentorships, who are getting scholarships, who are now going to the colleges and universities of their choice rather than a backup. And it also helped me to encourage myself to like level up my own approach to engagement and beyond the campus. I started sharing more on LinkedIn, right? Building that virtual and global connection with students and peers. So after that, that connection has really reached over 50,000 impressions on my LinkedIn profile. And that kind of reach shows me that the connection doesn't stop at the podium when you're at the campus. It can be worldwide. Someone that sees my post will see that and be like, dang, that's insightful, or dang, we need to do something about this. Good. Do it. Don't wait. Do it.
Yeah, and I think social media has that power, just to be able to have, it's a large part of the reason why I love sharing stories on this platform, being able to give people a window into the mindsets behind the people who are pushing for education to move to the next level.
Couldn't agree more.
And like you're a perfect example of that kind of leader, and it's authentic, it's natural. You started as a student, you moved through that space, you were educated for student affairs, and now you're giving back, understanding what it's like to sit in a chair and being late to class or trying to figure out how to academically perform. All of those things are important. And
tutoring matters. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Trio student support services saved my life. Like, if it wasn't for them, I would have never gotten the necessary tutoring and tutelage I needed to pass my French 1 course, to pass my chemistry course, or any of my science courses when I asked for help. And a lot of times nowadays, I'm seeing more students, who just see it and then they just walk on by. Me seeing it, I don't let them walk by. I tell them, hey, come over here. Did you know you get tutoring? Hey, did you know, you tell them about the opportunities and the resources that fit to them, and they will go to it like a horse needing to drink water. You can't force anyone to do something that they're not comfortable with. That's the hard pill to swallow, right? But within that, every resource from Trio kind of helped me out along the way and gave me an opportunity to really have those one-on-one beginning of the semester, middle of the semester, and ending of semester appointments with my my coordinator at the time to just talk about me, to talk about how I'm feeling, without any barriers. Just, how is Antonio? How are you doing? And that felt great because I didn't get those chances to do that with like friends, because friends would just, they'll give you a yes man answer or a yes.
Just trying to have fun.
Yeah, like I'm trying to like get something off my mind.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need to have somebody there who knows how to process with you, or who knows how to help you look at how to process things, and that's extremely helpful. I just wanted, I had a chance to speak to some high school students at Mountain View campus earlier today. They have an early college high school program, so there was a couple of us there, and we were speaking, trying to connect with them to see what their experience was like. The event was around mental health. So first of all, shout out to Dr. Macario Hernandez.
Hey, that's my man right there, yeah.
And to Muñeca for putting that together. She does an amazing job supporting him. I appreciate the opportunity to be there. So just coming from that earlier today, since you mentioned that, I figured I'd just kind of talk a little bit about what that experience is like for me, because people know what real looks like. Authenticity is something that it's I've said this before, it's the most powerful form of human connection is authenticity. People can see real, they feel real, and they move towards real. And so anytime you can be vulnerable in a space, in this particular instance with a group of young high school men, just trying to see where their mind is at and what type of support that they need, what their feelings are towards their experience. It's just amazing. And I know for you, as a student engagement coordinator, when you interact with students, it's the same, right? And you can't fake that because they can tell.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
they're not. What's the word? I mean, they're not naive. You know,
They'll call BS on you.
Yeah.
They'll be like, Cap.
Yep.
What?
I don't know the terminology, but yeah, exactly. So, they could see it, and they can see when it's real. They can see when it's not real, and so there is no pretending in leadership, in education. You know, when you're trying to connect with people, it's got to come from an authentic space if you want it to be powerful.
It's something someone told me after the session. Do you remember in the building connections, I told people to write on the sticky note like what worked, what didn't work?
Yes. Yes.
I got all those back, and one of the quotes stuck out to me, and I still have it in my office. It's not hard work, it's heart work. Comes from the heart.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. It's all about your authentic understanding of the situation, how you feel. Like if you want to help people, they know that too. So when they sit in your office and they open up to you, it's because they feel comfortable. Leaders who have not mastered that struggle connecting to their constituents. It's the reason why sometimes you have organizations will send out surveys, right, and nobody responds because they're like, well, we filled it out last time and you didn't listen to us, right? So we're not going to give you our opinion again, because that trust is not there. That they don't believe that they actually care about them, and so that's one way when you have leaders like yourself who demonstrate what that looks like. When an organization, like Dallas College now comes through and tries to figure out and sends those surveys, it's leaders like you that set the stage for them to be filled out. You know, so that they can gather that information because they're like, nah, I enjoy my experience. Like, I'm comfortable talking about what may need to be adjusted because I know the people around me care about what's best for me. I think that's a huge thing for the student experience.
And it stinks that when we give the opportunity out, sometimes that student might not fit it or meet the GPA requirement, or they're not involved with as much orgs as this other student is. We need to be looking at our first year experiences with our students so that we can really, engage and encourage them to really get jump started onto their leadership development path and empowering them and then helping them find their next.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that first year is so powerful because it sets the tone for how they move through the rest of their college journey.
Oh yeah.
If they start out not knowing they have help, that puts them in a severe disadvantage. So it
puts them in a huge deficit.
Yeah, you talked about some of those GPA based things. When you're in semester number 1, you don't have a GPA. So there's a lot of stuff that you have access to that you can do. You don't have a solidified GPA yet. Once you do, that GPA is going to determine what doors are open in certain instances. So if you can get them in that first semester, get them engaged, get them academically, the support that they need there, they start off with a strong GPA, right? Now that sets them up to be able to join these other opportunities and continue that experience. They like coming to school. They love the people that lead them. They love the people that they're working with, and they love the experience they have. So much of what happens inside of education, it's a lot more than taking a test. It's a lot more than just getting a degree. It's something I've learned, moving from business now to education is there's a world inside of education that I didn't know existed before. I said this before on a previous episode, but it's so true. Like all of the opportunities that you have available to you, they help you to become who you are.
Exactly. And all I want is for you to have your doctorate. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you and anyone else out there.
That's right. Go get your doctorate if you can. I mean, if that's. I think education is it's the most powerful form of empowerment because like knowledge is power, right?
Oh my God.
It's when you know how to look at things, and it's not just. I say in life and in business, it's half what you know and half who you know. So you got to have the emotional intelligence like you talked about, but knowing what you're talking about, having that subject matter expertise, gets you in the room, right? And then the EQ, emotional the emotional intelligence, that's what's going to keep you in the room. That's what's going to allow you to move to the next level and stay where you want to be. So
I agree. I couldn't do any of this without any of y'all. Because without students, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
that's what education is all about. Yeah, without the students, no one has a job, right? None of us has work to do, and it's not. It's more than just a job.
No, it's a career. It's a livelihood.
It's
like
a calling.
There you
It's
go.
a calling, yeah, because you're investing in the future of society. These young students are going to be the future. They're going to be the future leaders in society. They're going to be the ones
Future
that
president, future
That's right.
CEO, future
That's right.
financial analyst. Like,
And so why would you ever not want to invest in that?
Yeah,
Is
you're-
what I'm looking at. Yeah,
like you are investing into your future. It's like going into the stock market. When you invest in something, right, and you don't touch it for a year, guess what? That $25 just jumped up to $200 in the matter of a year. And you're going to be asking why and how. And you can look at the analytics and see where the arrow comes up and down. But at the end of the day, you got money. However, when it comes to your future and your education or your pathway to a certification or certificate or a program that you're in, get what you're wanting from it and make that be like an extension of you, like another limb, and preach it and talk about it.
yeah, absolutely. I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about I mentioned in the beginning, and we spoke about this, the spring break. Tell me a little bit about what that was like for you, getting that set up, and then what the experience was like for the students and for yourself.
I will have to say, like, the alternative spring breaks that I've helped lead alongside the Office of Student Life and Engagement and many other cross-campus partners, the moments that we had, we just wanted students to be involved with their service. We wanted them to be involved with understanding servant leadership and how to help out others, and then helping out their communities, and then having them just talk about what they learned from the experience. What they say is, I want to go do this and that, and that happens when they come back afterwards. It may not happen that spring when they just experience it, but it starts to transform into what they want beginning of the fall semester for them. And then you start to see some of the projects or the new erected student organizations that come up because that one student said, why is this not here for me? Well, I'm going to make it. And I'm
There
just
you
like,
go.
wow. The recent alternative spring break we just had happen, Resilience and Rebirth, Native American Displacement, and the Legacy of Black Wall Street was one of those moments in collaboration with my colleague, Dr. Isaac Williams, and the Intercultural and Global Student Engagement Department at Dallas College. We worked together to make that vision a reality. And shout out to Andrina Jackson. She was a big help in making all of that possible as well with the team. And everyone that put into that for the students, they really got something from it. And people are just people. But when you go to that area of Tulsa, you start to see a community that's not working against each other. It's working with each other. Oh, hey, bro, I got everything that guy across the street has. My bank is full today. Go help him out. It's all across Greenwood. It's all across the Greenwood district. And you really get to see it when you're there. And you get to see what the real story is versus what someone else's story is. And when we took the students to Durant, where we get to learn from the Chickasaw Nation and the Choctaw Nation, we get to have these elders speak to students about how they preserve their heritage under scrutiny, under intense, through intense, just like day to day. I'm trying to find the words to say to that because what we experienced was very heavy. The point I'm trying to make is this recent alternative spring break was more than just hearing stories and, doing community service. It was about the students being there and also learning about economic development as well. How does that impact that they went through could be put into our own DFW Metroplex? How can we encourage these communities that are, down and out to come up and be up rather than being against each other?
That's such an amazing window into you guys' thought process going into it. Such depth and intention when planning things like that. And again, shout out to everybody involved in that process. Congratulations to you for continuing to push for things to really create an engaging experience for the students, because again, that's what it's all about. That's what the work of education is about. We are running out of time, but I do want to, before we go, I do want to get you, ask you another question. So for students who are coming through their college experience, if there's one piece of advice that you would give them to help them be successful, what would you say?
Don't give up. Don't quit. There's going to be a lot of people in the world that's going to tell you you can't do this and you can't do that. Don't listen to those naysayers. Listen to the people that are in your corner that's there to help you be the best you for your own future. Because you're helping out yourself, your family, and your community at the end of the day when you get out of college, when you get out of your master's, when you get out of that certificate, when you get out of your doctorate. What will you do that will bring an awareness to the transformational impacts that you're making out there for you and the people that are around you? Like, we can't be selfish anymore. We need to be connected. We need to start having these conversations and building communities that want to make the change. Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah. With every problem comes an opportunity to create a solution. That's what business is about at the highest level. That's what life is about at the highest level. So I 100% agree with you, and inspiring words for people to hear. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I know it took a lot for us to make this happen, but I really do appreciate it. So if you found this episode to be useful, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and always remember, mindset matters only for the hardworking.